I got a text this morning from a lady. She goes, "You don't know me, but my name is Carmen." She was here watching the last game of the World Series. It was a good game, the Dodgers and Toronto, and she was sitting over here on the banquette, and I study fashion. I tell what people are wearing, and they were well traveled. I think they're from Mexico City. She had a Pucci dress on, and they were finished. I go, "Y'all want another drink?" She, "No, we're just watching the series." I go, "Well, enjoy." I go, "But I'm buying you a drink. So what are you having? You're having a cognac. You're having this." Okay, I bought them all drinks, like 5 people. And I commented on her outfit. I go, "I love Pucci. She's one of my favorite dress designers." And I got a text this morning. She goes, "Hi, this is Carmen. You don't remember us probably, but you bought us a round of drinks and you commented on my outfit. And you really made me feel so special. We're coming back Friday night before people."
I love that.
Yeah. And I sent that text and I showed all my managers. I said, it just takes a little bit of kindness to make people feel special. And now she's going to come back and, probably spend another $500 or $600.
One sentence, how would you define hospitality?
Just never saying the word no and doing anything the customer asks.
What up, Unstoppables? We have a great episode today, but real quick, we want to invite you to make the most important investment of your life. It's not a secret. There's no smoke and mirrors. I'm not even trying to pull a fast one on you. I'm going to be pretty straightforward. The best investment you can make in your life is in yourself. And the best way to invest in yourself is by investing in your network, putting time and energy, surrounding yourself with the best. You are the average of those you surround yourself with. In that Restaurant Unstoppable network, I made it easy. Over the past 12 years and 1,200 plus episodes, I've been researching and talking to people and trying to figure out how do you become successful in the restaurant industry. And I've curated a network of tools, services, technologies, and individuals, experts that I would go to tomorrow if I'm opening a restaurant. And I'm bringing you to that network with live events, whether it be a workshop, a mentoring session, a power hour, or access to me twice a month where I just listen and steer you in the right direction, all happening at Restaurant Unstoppable Network. Head over to restaurantunstoppable.com/live. You also get this amazing access to all the recordings, RU Network podcast, which includes bonus ad-free and early release content. It also gives you access to our Unstoppable. It is a custom AI agent that is fed with 1,200 plus transcripts, over 2,400 hours of transcripts plus bonus content, all cross-referenced with our database. This is a powerful AI tool that you also get access to as well. What are you waiting for? Head over to restaurantunstoppable.com/live and we'll see you there.
This episode made possible by Restaurant Systems Pro. With excitement, allow me to introduce to you today's guest, owner of Clark Concepts, Charles Clark, my man. Charles, are you feeling unstoppable today?
Every day, especially today. The weather's good. The holidays are around the corner. Revenues will rise 20% probably. I'm excited about what's going on at the restaurant.
It's about to get busy. I love that for you. So the last time I spoke to you was in 2019, episode 666. This will be episode 1238. I've been busy. And back then, you had 6 concepts. You were the co-owner of Clark Cooper Concepts, and you were partners with Grant Cooper with 6 total concepts. Fast forward 6 years. Big picture, where are you today? How many locations do you have?
Well, fast forward 19. That's a year before COVID. So COVID kind of hurt us a little bit.
Yeah, it was.
So we
was a rough
closed
time.
a concept called Saltaire.
Okay.
And then we had the Dunlevy, we had Copa, Gratify, and Brasserie 19. Those 4 concepts were the up and running concepts. And so around 21, we decided to split the concepts up. And we both wanted B19. It's the golden goose. We're the restaurant. My goal is to keep it at 10 million. 10 million is the golden number in revenue a year.
Oh, wow.
That's it out of 4,800 square feet, which is 2,300 a foot. Which
250 seats on
which
all
is
cylinders.
Insane.
Yeah.
Most people are happy at 1,000 a foot. I'm doing almost 2,300 a foot.
Wow.
Yeah. So anyway, we both kind of fought over Brasserie, and I said, look, my training is French. I'm a chef. I am going to say Brasserie. You can have all 3 other concepts. I don't care. So we decided Then I take Brasserie and he take the other 3 concepts. And that's how we dissolved the partnership. And Brasserie has been around almost 15 years this coming May. So I wanted to put some love back into it. When you do a lot of volume like we do, it beats up the restaurant. I mean, you got so many people, 300 to 500 people a day coming
Brand
through.
new tables, I noticed.
Yeah,
they're
every
nice.
table in here is brand new. They
Yeah.
all match perfectly. They all pop up to 6 to 5 to
I
6
noticed that
people.
too. I was like, this is nice.
Yeah, so
spoiled over here.
Yeah, I put a lot of money into the restaurant in the last couple of years. I redid the patio at $500,000. I redid the bathrooms at almost $250,000 for 2 bathrooms. I had no idea bathrooms
Remind
could
me
cost
to use
that
the
much.
bathroom before I leave.
Oh
I'll have
man,
to
it's
check
like
it
a
out.
golden toilet in there. But I put a lot of love back into the restaurant.
I love that. So you mentioned $10 million in total revenue.
$10 million total revenue. It's funny. I tell people, they go, "You don't miss having your other restaurants." I go, "Let me put it in perspective for you." I had 4 restaurants, possibly 5. We split the company up. I have 1 restaurant. I've quadrupled my income with 1 restaurant.
Yeah, I can't wait to get into the details because I mean, I think the restaurant industry isn't always what it seems like. It's not.
It's a lot of
obvious
ego. There's a lot of ego
Yeah.
involved, and I'm not an ego. To me, this is a business.
Yeah, and I think that there's 1,000,001 different definitions of success in this industry, and I
Yeah.
want to explore all of them. And I think
Yeah.
sometimes at surface level, what you think is success might not be success. What looks like success on the outside looking in, it can be deceiving, So I'm really interested to get into the details of why you are the way you are today and how you got here and if life is better or worse. I can't wait to break that down. But before we do so, we mentioned the $10 million in total revenue. What is your prime cost?
65.
65.
Yeah.
And what is your percent profit?
Right now, I'm running it at 12.2.
When you're doing 12 or 10 million a year,
Yeah.
that's pretty good.
Yeah, 12.2. I mean, what I use is we run fat. What I mean by that is I use $20 wine glasses. I
Okay.
use the best silverware. I use the best plating, things like that. Olive Garden, not to say they're wrong or anything, they run more of a 25% profit cost, but they're serving tumbler Cokes for sodas. They're serving really cheap little bitty wine glasses. But I don't mind. I spend money. I have the best customers in the world coming here. They're well traveled.
Yeah.
And when I put out a Riedel glass or a certain plate, they know the money is in there, and it shows respect to them.
Yeah, and there is no one way to be successful in restaurants. That's the one thing I learned. There is no way. When I started this podcast, my goal was to chart what is the way to be successful.
No.
And it's really you got to reverse engineer what your market wants, what you love, and you got to do that Venn diagram of what works here. And there is no right way. There's just the right way in any given moment with the players that are at the table, right?
Yeah.
Including the ownership in the marketplace.
Yes.
You gotta do that dance. So I love talking numbers because it helps set benchmarks for my listeners to know this is possible with this concept
Yes.
in this market. So now that we know what you got going on, let's go back. Actually, first, I almost forgot. We gotta get that success quote or mantra. We gotta get that motivational ball rolling. So what do you got for us today?
Well, I use a philosophy, and I tell everybody from the dishwasher to the hostess to the general manager, there's one word we don't use in this restaurant. It's the word no. No one wants to hear that, especially you come in, you don't have a reservation. Don't worry about it. I'll take care of you. Give me 2 minutes. And if you can't seat someone at the best table, if they want it for their birthday, explain to them why you can't. Listen, there is already a reservation over there. It's their anniversary, but I'm going to get you the second best table. Just don't say the word no, and don't give them an excuse. Let them know you're always like you're doing them a favor, like you're going out of your way for them. That's what I do. I'll do anything for my customer, and they know it. I deliver food when they're sick in the hospital, on the house.
Do you guys sell key lime pie by any chance?
key lime?
Yeah.
No, we don't sell key lime.
Would you get one for me if I asked for
Yeah,
it?
I did that. I think I said that in the
did, yeah.
the last one, 19. A lady wanted key lime, and Tony Mandela's where we're sitting right now, served key lime pie, and we called him, and he sold us 2 pieces of key lime pie, and we ran over and got it, brought it back to Ibiza, the restaurant, in 2003, and gave her key lime pie from Tony Mandela's.
So in that circumstance, I'm curious, do you just forward the cost to the bill, or is it just on the house?
No, it's on the house. It's
Okay.
kind of a little thing because she's going to tell that story for 20 years.
marketing.
Yeah, it's marketing.
Right.
Yeah.
It's a good marketing return for
Yeah,
sure.
exactly.
Yeah. Okay, so when we first spoke in 2019, it was you and your partner Grant. We didn't really get into like where you were in 2019, like your organizational structure and like what your vision for the future of the restaurant group was. So can you take me back to 2019 and like how? So 6 locations. How many employees do you have?
6 locations employees. We had about 370, 400 employees.
Okay.
In all the restaurants. Grant really wanted to grow Copa in other markets, Austin, Dallas. I didn't really want to do that. I wanted to stay in Houston and maybe do different concepts.
Why Copa out of all the other concepts?
I think Copa is just a family-friendly pizza, pasta. You got kids, you got soccer moms, you got everybody. Italian is probably the most popular food in the world.
Yeah.
And it just has legs to grow, I think. And Grant really wanted to grow it, and I wanted to concentrate on Brasserie and just kind of, make them all little jewel boxes of restaurants. And, I can't blame him. So we sat down. It was his idea. He goes, why don't we split the company up? And I said, I never thought about it, but yeah, that would be good. I was a waiter when I first started back in 1981, and I waited tables for 12 years before I went to culinary school. So my dream was to finish in the kitchen and come back to the dining room as, wearing a suit and hugging all the pretty girls, whatever. But I'm in the front of the house now. I'm not cooking anymore. I have an executive chef here. I'm really happy with having one restaurant, but I have another concept in mind, and I'm looking for a location right now as we're speaking. I'm getting very close.
Are you allowed to talk about it? Maybe we save that for later?
Yeah, maybe later. We can talk about it later. I'll give you more details.
Sounds good. I'm going to put a note here so I don't forget. So what was it about Copa that made it, was it Copa or Copa? Sorry. Copa. That gave it legs. Why was it appealing? Why was it scalable?
I think.
How did you know that?
I think the price points were good. The menu was approachable. Everybody loves pizza. Everybody loves pasta. When you're doing items like pasta and you're adding chicken or this, those are items that the ingredients consistently say at a price where you can do it all the time.
Flour and water, baby.
And Brasserie is different. When you're dealing with seafood fluctuates. When you're dealing with beef, right now beef's the highest it's ever been in 30 years I can remember. And but I think Copa just you could keep the price, the control of your ingredients, your cost of goods. 2 things kill you in the business. People think high rents. High rent doesn't kill you. 2 things: cost of goods and labor.
Right.
Those 2 things will kill you.
Yep. Those are your prime costs right there. We talked about it earlier. What your prime cost was hovering at right now. What'd you say?
65.
65. Yeah. So why did you want to focus on Brasserie? What was it about Brasserie 19 that made you really want to stay here?
I travel a lot. I like France, go to Paris a lot. And when I would look at brasseries over there, these brasseries were 100 years old, 50, 100. Brasserie Lip, my favorite brasserie, was built before the Eiffel Tower in 1880 in the same location. And look at Johnny Crumb. He's got an Italian restaurant. It's been around almost 40 years. It's hard to have a restaurant to stay relevant more than 6, 7, 8 years. And Brasserie, I think, I compare it to the New Orleans Galatoire's. Galatoire's in New Orleans. It's got a classic look. Nothing's ever changed, but it's polished. It's just a jewel box of a restaurant, and that's what I really want. I want something people, a 10-year-old girl 20 years from now goes, wow, I got engaged at Brasserie 19, or I had my first child and we went to Brasserie 19. But that's what I want. I want something iconic, like Johnny is built with Carrabba's.
Yeah, I had him on the guest as well. We actually referenced him a lot in the first episode. Guy. I should probably try to reconnect with him.
Man, I'd love to do a joint podcast with him. We'd have fun.
Yeah, what did he say that always stuck with me? He emphasized the importance of enthusiasm.
Yeah.
And whenever you walk into the room, you have to be the most enthusiastic person. And when you walk into a room, people are going to be at a baseline. And your job is to raise that baseline every time you walk into the room. Because you will either, you got to be really mindful of that energy you bring. Because you can bring people down or you can bring them up. You have to choose to bring them up every time. That for some reason, that always stuck with me for some reason.
I got a text this morning from a lady. She goes, you don't know me, but my name is Carmen. She was here watching the last game of the World Series. It was a good game, the Dodgers and Toronto, and she was sitting over here on the banquette, and I study fashion. I tell what people are wearing, and they were well traveled. I think they're from Mexico City. She had a Pucci dress on, and they were finished. I go, y'all want another drink? She we're just watching the series. I go, well, enjoy. I go, but I'm buying you a drink. So what are you having? You're having a cognac. You're having this. Okay, I bought them all drinks, like 5 people. And I commented on her outfit. I go, I love Poochie. She's one of my favorite dress designers. And I got a text this morning. She goes, hi, this is Carmen. You don't remember us probably, but you bought us a round of drinks and you commented on my outfit. And you really made me feel so special. We're coming back Friday night before people.
I love that.
Yeah. And I sent that text and I showed all my managers. I said, it just takes a little bit of kindness to make people feel special. And now she's going to come back and, probably spend another $500 or $600.
One sentence, how would you define hospitality?
Just never saying the word no and doing anything the customer asks.
Yeah. I love that. And when hearing you share your story, it reminded me of Will Guardera. He pointed something out. He's like, hospitality is seeing somebody. And when you are willing to do whatever they ask and you never say no and you make them feel like important and special, like in that moment you are seeing them. And I don't think we realize how significant it is relative to human needs. Like we literally need to be seen. It's like the third thing on the hierarchy of needs above like food and shelter, then security. Like I feel safe and secure. And then beyond that, it's being seen and loved and like valued.
Acknowledgement,
like that's how important it is. Like,
it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Especially when I walk by, I'll hear people out of the corner, I'll just say, hey, that's the owner. And so this is a little touchy. I don't know, you can edit or whatever, but there's a demographic of people that when they come in without reservations, they don't get great tables. And I don't understand that. It happens in every restaurant. So when I see that, I try to move them to a better table, whatever. I'll go over and spend time with them more than anybody else and make them feel special. And I've always done that. And I introduce myself and I treat them with nothing but the best respect. Yes, sir, no, sir, things like that. And I make their time here special because they don't get that in a lot of restaurants. And, some people, if you don't look a certain way, they don't give you the attention you need, which I think is wrong.
Right, it is wrong.
25 years ago, the guy getting on a private jet had a briefcase and a suit. Today, he's got tattoos, he's got his hat backwards, and he's getting on a G5.
Right.
You can't read a book by its cover, nor should you.
You're right. It's wrong, and I think it's also we have to give ourselves a little grace because I think it's also human nature to gravitate towards people who might look more like us.
Yeah,
it's how we evolved, and I think that is a prime example of choosing to be conscious and to recognize that human instinct to gravitate towards people who talk and look like you it's what we do instinctually, and that no longer serves us. When we go back 10,000 years ago, we all we knew was people like us, so we evolved to gravitate towards that security. Remember, one of those needs was security. And when you saw people who spoke different or had different culture or beliefs, that was literally a threat to you. Yeah. Because they might want to kill you for not agreeing, or maybe they have some kind of look what happened when the English or the Spanish came to, America and Central America. Like they might be carrying something that you don't have an immunity to. So there was actually evolutionary purposes of why we tend to not gravitate to people that aren't like us. But that was 10,000 years ago. Yeah. Like that instinct, no longer. It's the same reason why we're always anxious and nervous because we thought a lion was going to kill us. We don't have to think about that anymore. No. Like it doesn't serve us anymore. So choosing to override that initial gut instincts for some people to say this is wrong. Like I treat people equal. Yeah. I think it's important to recognize that that feeling that you might get no matter what side of the aisle you're on, to recognize it and say, okay, I recognize this, but that's not serving me or the situation or the greater good. Yeah. Right? What are your thoughts on that?
I agree 100%. I mean, it would be when people are different, I always tell other people, they'll look at them strange. I go, look, if everybody dressed the same, it'd be a boring world. Right. If everybody looked the same, it'd be a boring world. And B19 is known as the best people watching in the whole city. And I always make a joke. I said, you don't have a party unless you have a hooker, a preacher, and an accountant in the room. You need a mix of everybody. And people have tables over here in the gallery area where they like to sit so they can people watch. And they'll joke with me, what time does the show start tonight, Charles? I go, about 8:20, So they know the restaurant well.
I love that. So, okay, back to where you were in 2019, 375 employees, approximately 6 locations. Did I get those numbers right? Okay. Yeah. What was your hierarchy? So it was you and Grant at the top as co-founders.
Yes.
And what lanes were you in? Did you guys complement each other?
We complement each other. Grant was very into the look of the restaurant,
aesthetics.
The aesthetics. I was more in to the food part of it, but Grant has a great palate too, and he's well traveled. But and we basically the first 10 years of our partnership, we could almost finish each other's sentences. We knew what colors we liked. We knew what we had shirts made up at our first restaurant called The Rules Have Changed.
Yeah.
And we made our employees wear The Rules Have Changed. And people go, what does that mean? It just goes, this isn't an old stuffy restaurant like it used to be. The rules have changed. It's whatever happens.
Right.
It's going to be positive. It's going to be fun. And we're not selling wine 4 times the cost. We're selling wine almost at retail prices. We're just shaking it up and making it all different, making it more fun.
I think you can take it even a step further and say there are no rules in restaurants.
Yeah, there are no rules.
Yeah, I think Danny Myers is famous for saying that. Like, who says you can't?
He waits in line at his own restaurants. I have nothing but respect for that.
Yeah, that is cool. Everyone thinks that marketing is the answer to driving profitability in the restaurant industry, but the reality is nothing drives profit better than rock solid systems, which is exactly why I'm partnering with Restaurant Systems Pro, the best in the biz. So beginning January 5th, Restaurant Systems Pro is going to be launching their 30-day mastery program, and they're going to be offering so much that I have to look at my notes. Here's what they're going to be offering: scheduling, menu engineering, purchasing, inventory, AI invoice processing, bookkeeping, restaurant budgeting, digital checklists, recipe costing, and POS integrations. Plus, on top of all that, they're going to be offering a library of video tutorials and recordings, operational playbooks, flowcharts, swipe files, checklists, and a personalized action plan, which makes delegating all this 100% doable. So, this 30-day restaurant mastery program is valued at $4,000, but because you are Restaurant Unstoppable listeners, you can get it for $97 if you just head over to restaurantsystemspro.net/profits-RU. But really, the best deal is joining Restaurant Unstoppable community. When you join our community, you get all of this for free. Plus, you get access to all of our live events, our ad-free early release bonus content, our Unstoppable bot, and access to a community of restaurateurs trying to be unstoppable just like you. So this is a deal that is just unbeatable. Head over to restaurantunstoppable.com/live and we'll get you the special link to get access to this RSP training beginning January 5th. Get on it. So 2019 again, you guys, you're more back of house focusing on the food, and he's more aesthetic design, front of house. Yeah. What were the actual business titles? Like, who did you have hired on your team? Did you have executives or?
We had a director of operations, Mark Cantu at the time. He came from Mario Batali Group in New York.
Okay.
He relocated in Houston. We're lucky to get him. He was very good. And then we had Brandy Key, who was our culinary director.
Okay.
And Brandy Key is with the Dish Society people now. And so that was the layout. And then we had, of course, GMs in all the restaurants. And then it broke down, to managers, assistant managers, and then wait staff, and all the way down to the dishwasher.
Okay. Did you ever explore getting, was there a plan to scale? Did you have a shared vision at that point that you were working towards?
Well, we basically love location. I was a location guy. If this restaurant right here, we had a Bees at the time, and I think Catalan, and Chris Shepard worked for us at Catalan. And Tony Mendola's left this in Weingarten, who owned the center. They called us and said, would you like this space? And to me, it was a no-brainer. And we already we wanted to do a brasserie because there's not one brasserie in the city. Nobody knew what brasserie is. My mom pronounces Brasserie 19. And I'm like, people go Brasserie. But I knew a brasserie would work because it's an all-day cafe. It's the restaurant for the people. So this location fell in our lap. And we signed the lease, I bet, within 30 days, which is real quick to sign a lease. So we're very happy with this. But I'm driven by location. If the location comes, we have probably 5 to 6 concepts in our head. We'll say this concept will work at this location. Like Copa, when it came, we said, it's got to be there because it's soccer moms. It's the house.
So you're thinking demographic, marketplace.
Yeah, demographic.
Yeah.
Think that, and then the concept comes. But location is so key.
Yeah. So back in 2000, when you said let's go into business together, that's when you got established, right?
Yeah.
You were together for 19 years by 2019. Was there a vision back then, and where were you on that journey to achieving your vision by 2019?
Yes, I had an idea of Grant was more in front of the house. I think he was waiting tables, and I was cooking in the kitchen, and I had an idea of selling wine at almost retail, very reduced prices, and I just thought, anybody coming to buy a $30 bottle of wine that's usually $50 is going to jump up from $30 to $50. The 50 bottle used to be selling at $100. So, and it was a feeding frenzy. People would come in and go, oh my God, I'm going to try a bottle of this. Let's get a bottle of this. I'm going to get this to go. And we were selling so much wine. And when you sell so much wine,
The volume makes up for the...
it's a Costco effect.
Yeah.
You get more buying power. The wine guy calls you, hey, you're going through 30 cases of Vouv a week. We're going to give it to you at $30 a bottle.
So now you can do... Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I can sell it even cheaper.
Yep. Okay, so I guess what I'm curious at, like in 2019, actually, I guess we should say, it was in 2022 is when you guys decided to split and do your own thing, right?
Yeah, about 22. But going back, like you said, at Ibiza, our first, Grant and I really wanted to do a restaurant together, and we were so excited to do Ibiza. Ibiza came, I lived in Spain for a while, in Marbella, and Ibiza is a small island, of course, where they have the DJs and all that. And I remember going there and thinking, God, every night is like a party. If I ever open a restaurant, I'm going to call it Ibiza because it's a party. And so I called it Ibiza.
Like, it's a Spanish town, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a Spanish island.
Okay.
Yeah. And so anyway, I called it Ibiza, and nobody could pronounce it. And you say it with a lisp, Ibiza. And so anyway, it became really, really good. We had one investor, Ray Wheeler, and he put the money up. I think we built it for $1 million. That's turnkey. And we paid him back within 3 years, and then Grant and I really wanted the restaurant to ourselves, so we offered to buy him out, and he gave us a number. He didn't want to be bought out. He gave us a number that was a little high, but we agreed to it, and he said if you miss one payment, it goes back to payment one. And I said, okay, I wanted to own this restaurant outright. And so we never missed one payment, paid him off. I remember seeing that last check. And then Grant and I owned it. We were always, I was 51-49. I had 51% of the company because I felt that paying myself through culinary school, paying for culinary school, putting my education, that's worth another 1%. So they agreed, which is pretty right down the middle anyway. But I had controlling interest 51% until we split the company up.
Okay.
Yeah.
I guess what I'm curious about, so they say when you're going into business, like we know this today, it's shared often, if you want to have a vision, right? You want to have a shared vision with your partners. Hey, are we going to the same place? Like what is, in the perfect world, what does our future look like? How many restaurants do we own? How much money are we making? What does our life look like? What's our work-life balance look like? What are people saying about us? If we die in 20 years, what do we want people to say at our funeral, right? You go through these exercises to share that vision. Yep. Did you have a shared vision in the beginning?
My thing is, my reputation means more to me than anything. Being honest, hardworking, and that was my goal: is to be a true restaurateur. Whether I have one concept or 5 concepts, be a true restaurateur and run one of the best run restaurants in the city. And I think doing close to 10 million and probably right at 10 million this year at a Brasserie, and the money I
when
put.
By the way, everyone else is down.
Oh, I know. I can't believe that. I talked to Papa's Steakhouse the other night, and they were up a little bit, but not much. But you're right. Everyone is down. And I don't like to tell people that what the numbers I'm doing, but if you look, I mean, if you come out on a Friday night, the valet's backed up 10 cars to get in. But I'm very, very fortunate. I think it's due to the staff and the way we treat our customers. If you're going to spend your last $20 somewhere, you want to go where you're going to get the most bang for the buck.
Value. Yeah. And I'll say it for you. When we share numbers here on the show, it's not about ego. It's not about flexing. It's about sharing knowledge and being inspirational and saying, listen, like, here's how I did it. You can do it too, but we got to share. We got to lift each other up. We got to share those benchmarks so we know what's possible. Yeah. It keeps us showing up to achieve those things, right? Yeah. To hit those numbers, to hit those goals. So, obviously, the pandemic happened. I don't like to spend a lot of time talking about the pandemic because we know what happened. You know, it was tough. But I do like to fast forward to when we came out of the pandemic, which was right around the time you guys decided to split the company and go your own way. So, I guess, did you come out of the pandemic stronger?
Oh my God, yes. But what we learned to do is, we learned to be a lot more efficient. We were controlling the labor so minute. We were controlling the food, what we bought. But on the other hand, when customers would come in and get something to go, I had a lady, the bill was $100, and she gave me a check. She goes, give this to the rest of the staff. It was a $10,000 check.
Wow.
And that happened probably a handful of times between Copa and here. People would go, here's $10,000, spread it between the staff. But we learned to get really, really efficient with the labor, the cost of goods, everything. It made us stronger.
Bring me to the labor. What did you do to get more efficient? What was something that you implemented? Was it a technology you implemented? Was it just focusing on how can we be more, like, how did you move the needle with labor?
Well, there's systems we put in place. Like there's every invoice we get, say for eggs, oysters, or what, we scan it through this computer system, through this software. And what it does is it breaks down it goes into inventory and it goes into costs. And it almost tells you per minute what your costs are.
Okay, so we're talking about cost of goods now, right?
Yes.
So do you know the name of the software you use?
I think it's Chef Cooks or something. We've used two different ones. I can get you the name later in the show.
Yeah, I'd love to know. So you started leveraging technology to really be good about entering to tracking your costs and not missing any of the costs.
Yeah, I'm more old school, but you got to use technology. I mean, there's so much out there now. The open table reservation system, which we run profiles on our customers. Like when, say, a customer comes in, I know where he likes to sit. I know where he likes to drink. I know he doesn't like this waiter. He loves this waiter. We know every little detail about them. We know their daughter's birthdays, things like that. So it gives you so much information, so much to work with. And the customer doesn't know that. I mean, they're not really thinking about that. They're going, wow, they knew my name. They knew my daughter's name. They knew what our birthday is. And I don't like to send out emails, happy birthday. I would just, when they walk in, have the staff go, oh my God, it's Kenny's birthday. Happy birthday.
Yeah.
You know?
Even if the customer knew that you were using a CRM is essentially what OpenTable is a customer relationship management tool. To store that information, the fact that you care enough to make the effort to document it so that they feel valued when they come back is something.
Yeah.
You know, like there's no way we can remember thousands of guests, every little detail. It's not humanly possible.
Johnny Crawford's the king of it.
Well, so there are savants.
You go in there
out
twice, they remember your name. All the hostess remember your name. He's the king of it.
Yeah, and there are some very special people out there, but most of us aren't walking encyclopedias.
No.
Retention of people's names and their little quirks, right? So we have to rely on that technology, but just going through the motions to make the effort is a statement of hospitality, I think. So were you using OpenTable prior to this point?
Yes, I was using OpenTable for years, and the prices went up, and it used to be $1 per person is what you paid. So when you get a party of 20 and they booked it on OpenTable, it's $20. So it got real expensive. So we do so much volume with OpenTable. We met with the corporate people, and we came to a cap fee, and we pay a cap fee every month. And we don't use a lot of their marketing things because I don't.
What kind of marketing things?
They have, like, if you go and put in a French Brasserie restaurant, it'll shoot out. If you're paying, it'll shoot out Brasserie 19. So we don't pay to have them put our name out there. We'd rather be word of mouth through a society that,
word of mouth will always be king.
Yeah, I don't advertise anything like that.
Okay. I know OpenTable was kind of catching a little heat for a while.
They were.
Yeah.
I dropped them. I went with Resi for 2 years.
What changed with OpenTable to make you switch back?
I think they thought about it from the customer's perspective, and I told them why I didn't use them. And I'm lucky. I'm OpenTable. I do a lot of volume, so a lot of reservations. So OpenTable wants me. They want me on here because other restaurants,
You're an influencer.
other little bitty restaurants, will go, "What does Brasserie use? OpenTable." Well, I'm using OpenTable.
Yeah.
And
Word
so
of mouth.
they do that. So
just like consumers use word of mouth to find the restaurant, restaurateurs use word of mouth, or they follow the leaders. To see what are you doing to.
When I travel, I cross-reference it like 5 times before I go because you can put best Asian food or something, and which restaurant will come up, and it's sponsored. It's not even the real deal.
So you left them. You told them why you left them.
Yeah, I told them why I
Can you get
left
into the
them.
details of why?
I just told them, I said, look, it's too expensive. What I'm paying, it's averaging $2,600 a month. I go, I mean, $2,600 a month. I could have another manager on the floor for that.
Right.
And
how many of your customers were loyal repeat customers?
I have a lot of loyal repeat, but there's a lot of customers who live off OpenTable too. It's so easy for them just to OpenTable, boom. And So it's kind of hard because some customers would, they'd bitch and say, hey, you're
Yeah.
not an open table anymore.
Yeah, like this is so inconvenient for me to have to not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
like,
we're glad
tap
to be
a button.
We're glad to be back on there.
Yeah. I mean, you bring up a really interesting point, but I want to hold off on that. I'm really curious on what was it that changed about Open Table that made you come back?
I think their pricing, they were creative with us and said, look, we really want you guys on here. You have a contract with Resi, and we'll buy you out of that contract. We'll give you a year free of Open Table, and we'll cap your fees at so-and-so dollar a month.
And they wanted your influence.
Yeah. And I'm like, done.
Yeah.
We'll do that.
You also mentioned that earlier they were really designing the platform for the consumer, not the restaurant. Did that change at all?
Yeah, I think they're going back to the relationship with the restaurants because, the people I've dealt with, they listened to everything I had to say, and I think they really cared, and they're killing it. They're buying up these smaller restaurant reservation systems, but that's the scary thing when you switch. It's like, hell, if I go to Resi, maybe they're going to buy Resi and just be bigger.
Yeah.
So
I have heard good things about Open Table recently. I know there was a lot of tension in the industry towards Open Table for a while. I think a lot of it had to do with not sharing data. Like
exactly.
You don't have.
If you left them, they took the data with them.
Do you have the data now?
Yeah, we made a contract. Said, look, if we ever leave you guys in the future, we get our data. They go, yes.
Yeah, I think that's really important. And the point that I wanted to bring up is that I think we in the industry have to be very mindful about how many other industries wouldn't exist if not for our industry. There's a lot of adjacent industry to the restaurant industry, right?
Oh, yeah.
And I think it's a pretty fair statement to say that the restaurant is losing the loyalty of the consumer, and consumers are becoming more loyal to third-party marketplaces, i.e. Resi, i.e. Open Table, i.e. Uber Eats, i.e. Google, i.e. Meta. We live in a world that's so abundant with relationships that we're not hardwired to be able to manage all the people in our life. We were never meant to bump up against this many people. Like, it's not humanly natural. Like,
yeah.
We're used to about 150 relationships through the existence of mankind.
Yeah.
And then 10,000 years ago, agriculture, we started living in cities, now we're on top of each other. And now with the internet, it's like we're literally so connected. There's so many points of reference that we have to default to third parties to get our information because word of mouth is just too abundant. Like, who do I trust, right? So you become loyal to the third parties, but even scarier is our habits become tied to third parties. And an example of that is, to your point, when people get mad at you because you're not an Open Table because you can't make a reservation anymore by tapping a button.
Yeah.
So when the human brain has a neural pathway that says, I want a reservation, and they know to go to Open Table, tap to get to your favorite restaurant, and it's not there anymore, now they're mad because you're literally making it harder for them. But what happens when a third party owns that habit and owns the data? It's not good for the restaurant industry.
No, it's not. Yeah.
So as I'm saying this, what's going through your mind?
I'm looking around the restaurant. I don't sit this long, and I'm looking around at the tables, the water levels, the cocktail levels of the table, and where my managers are, and things. This is after, it's probably around 2 right now.
You want to go check on something?
No, I'm good.
Okay, cool.
I'm good.
It's
just habit.
So usually when I sit down, I make it a point. You notice your back is kind of more towards like, I don't know. I always make it a point to turn my guest away from the dining room because I know that they're going to be distracted.
Yeah, but I'm good.
You're doing great. So I just like to bring this stuff to the surface because I think going forward, as the more and more apps get developed, more and more third-party marketplaces come on board, I think restaurant owners have to be really intentional about where are we putting our money to support the companies that want to support us in our business, and how do we retain the relationship with the consumer? Because we got to be really careful to protect that relationship. And I just don't think it's on the radar of most restaurateurs.
Yeah.
Is that safe to say?
Yeah, I'd say that.
Yeah.
Like I get asked for a lot of donations. People come and ask for donations, and my kind of rule is, if I recognize them, that means that I recognize them from my restaurant. But I'll have people call me, can you do a donation for this? I go, what's the address of my restaurant? I don't know. They're just calling every restaurant trying to get this. I like to help people that help me.
Yeah. How do you feel about donating food instead of money?
Yeah. Anything they want. I donated, chef dinners for the chef cooks inside their house, for galas, for the ballet, for Texas Children's Hospital, things like that. I like to help anything with kids in it.
Yeah. So we got down this pathway. We're talking about post 2020 and how it made you come out stronger. You said your prime costs are good, your cost of goods. You start using technology to scan your invoices to really track all of your spending. So you're tracking actual versus theoretical costs.
Yeah.
And we then started talking about labor and how you mentioned your labor came down. I don't think you told me how it came down or what you started to do differently to bring it down.
I think what we do is on our Toast app, we can pull up the app on our phone and go, okay, it's 8:20 Tuesday night. All my reservations are in. Let's go down to one host. Let's go down to one dishwasher. So let's get rid of 2 more waiters. Waiters really don't hurt your labor because they're $2.13 an hour, and people don't understand it. They're $2.13 an hour, but I had 8 waiters that got paid last Friday, and 8 of the 20-something waiters I have on staff, 8 of them made over $3,000 on their check. So over $3,000. Some made $36,000, but they make a lot of money here. So the waiters really don't affect me. It's everything from the hourly people. The salary people don't hurt. That's a fixed cost. So you really got to watch the hourly people.
Right. So you just really started out of necessity because it was tight time, saying like we really got to start watching our labor and be proactive. To get lean when we don't need all these people on.
Yeah.
Were you using any software to help with that?
No, not really. No, we just a lot of communication between the management. How many waiters are we running? Hosts are we running with? How many bartenders are we running with? The cooks. The cooks are key because the cooks make a chunk of change by the hour in there, and you can't go down too small because you won't be able to get the food out the way it should be. But you really got to watch the kitchen and the labor. I'd say that's the number one thing.
Got it. Okay, so the year is now 2022 in our story, our timeline. When did the first discussions of dividing the organization, dividing the company, Clark and Cooper, start to bubble up? When did that happen?
That's around 21, I think, late 21. Grant, we went over to our investor's house, Steve Webster, good guy, and Grant wanted to have a meeting, and Grant says, "Hey, I want to grow concepts, different concepts," and some of the concepts he had, I knew I didn't like. Graffiti Raw was a concept I wasn't a fan of. Anyway, he said, why don't we split? I don't know if Webster said it or Grant said it, but we came up with that. Either Grant said it or Mr. Webster said, why don't you split the company up? And I never thought of that. And we both wanted, of course, to be 19. And so they came up with the decision. Okay, here's how it really went down. There was 4 concepts, and I was going to take Brasserie and Dunleavy, and Grant wanted Dunleavy. So there was $1.5 million in debt from Saltaire and Dunleavy we'd built.
Was that due to the pandemic, or did you close 2 concepts?
Yeah, we closed Saltaire, but the Dunleavy didn't close. But there was still we just built them a couple years before, so there was $1.5 million in debt out of
you'd never had the runway to
out
build
of $5 million. There was about $1.5 million left in debt.
Got it.
Out there, and so I told Grant, I said, look, I tell you what, you can have all 3 concepts if you take the $1.5 million, or if you don't take the $1.5 million in debt, I'll take Dunleavy, and we'll split the debt. And he thought about it. He goes, okay, I'll take all 3 concepts, and he took the $1.5 million. I took Brasserie with a healthy bank account, and
that's what you wanted.
Yeah, that's what I wanted in the first place. Yeah.
Where is Grant today?
Is he
achieving his goals?
He's at Copa. He's there every day at Copa. Of course, he has Graffiti Raw. I don't think they're doing great. They're in that by Marmo, behind Uchi. And then he has Flora. Florida as well. It's a kind of a interior Mexico City type cuisine. And it's like a tree house, the Dunleavy, what's called Flora. So it's all glass right there on the bayou. So it does well. Okay. And Copa and Flora do well, and I'm sure he's working on some more concept. That guy has more concepts in his head.
When he originally, whoever it was who suggested this originally said, let's split it up, what was your emotion? Was there a sting, or did you just instantly think that's probably a good idea?
Grant and I kind of grew up together. He was a bartender when I first met him in Dallas.
Business partner for 22 years. I mean, you worked together before that.
And I admired that partnership because most partnerships don't work out, and we were flawless together, and we trusted each other and all that. And it was sad to see the partnership come to an end, but I guess you grow apart, and he wants to do his things, and I wanted to do my thing, and that was about it. So we just said, well, we're still friends.
Yeah, it seemed like it was a very amicable. Wow, this is a hard word to spit out sometimes.
Oh, it was
amicable departure.
It was. People would like to read more into it,
Yeah.
but it's not. He's, I texted him the other day, and I sent him a party of 22 people to his restaurant floor for a birthday party.
What advice do you have for people listening to this who might be discussing going their own ways and how to do it as civil as possible?
Take the high road always, because you don't want to burn bridges in the city. It's a big city, don't get me wrong, but it's a lot of people here, but it's a small city. And when you burn bridges, whether with maybe an old landlord or something, but you just take the high road. Even if it hurts a little bit, even if you're going to have to suck it up, just take the high road. It'll come back and bless you later on down the line.
Yeah. What about in terms of, did you have a partnership agreement going into this years ago?
We never had an agreement. It was a handshake.
Yeah, and I think, when you're friends with people, and you have that rapport, there's a little less risk involved. Hindsight being 2020, would you have gone through those motions to set up a partnership agreement?
No.
Okay.
It didn't matter. It didn't matter between us. We got a couple of lawyers together, and we did the split in about 3 months.
I mean, you got lawyers involved, which is really good.
Yeah, we had to, because we're dealing with money, you're dealing with leases, you're dealing with liquor license, so we had to cover our ass.
Any other lessons you learned during this time that might help somebody listening to this to make them prepared? Advice, things you didn't realize before? It's the first time you ever split up a company before, right?
Yeah, it's the first time I ever split up a company. I think the best advice I can give you is don't act like you know it all. If you have to hire an attorney, if you don't know something, whoever knows it, let them do it. Let them explain it to you. There's more than one way to skin a cat, what they say, but I know my strengths and I know my weaknesses. And I know my weaknesses, I go to people and have them, hey, I'm weak at this. Can you help me with this?
What are your weaknesses?
Human resources, I'd say. I don't like to deal with all the human resource part of it. I love being in the dining room. I love training the waiters. I love training the staff. I love taking care of the customer.
Some would argue that that's human resources, right? The training and development is part of the human resources.
Yeah, I guess it would be. I'm just saying,
Which
I don't
part
want to
of
write
human
training.
resources?
I don't want to write training manuals.
Okay.
I'd rather be a hands-on
The
guy,
documentation.
showing them how to open a bottle of wine correctly, showing them how to
Instructing,
serve
not
it.
necessarily creating the training material.
Exactly.
What about the?
I don't want to be on a computer.
Onboarding, right?
Yeah.
That kind of stuff, and making sure that the tax documents and everything are do I have everything I need legally? For this
Yes, I have
person?
an accounting company called Cervoni, and they're a national company, and I pay them quite a bit, and but they do everything from my personal taxes all the way down. They cover my butt with paying the
Payroll?
TABC taxes, paying payroll taxes, paying all that. That's what really gets you in trouble, is not paying your payroll taxes.
So it's actually, in full transparency, and everybody knows because they've heard the ads, Cervoni is a sponsor of this podcast.
Oh, I didn't know that.
They are.
Oh,
yeah.
my God.
And I was actually here last
crazy.
week.
Yeah.
And I was here with Maria and Joshua, and we were sitting on the patio, and we roll up.
I
and
was wondering why were you with them. I didn't know. I thought y'all were just friends.
Yeah, well, we are. I hope we are now.
Yeah.
It seems
Yeah.
I'm getting along with them. I hope they don't mind me.
Yeah.
So we rolled up. And we got a bottle of wine, and I was like, I've been here before, and I was like, oh, Brasserie night. I was like, oh, I had Charles Clark and
Yeah.
Grant on the show 6 years ago.
Yeah.
And then I wasn't expecting to see you, and then there you are. You're here, and you sat down with us, and it was it was a really great treat to be able to see you and to recognize the space I was in the past, and was not expecting to connect with you on this road trip out here. But I'm really happy.
I'm glad it happened.
Yeah, and I love connecting with past guests because I feel like you kind of understand what you're to expect. We have a little bit of rapport, and we get to go deeper.
Yeah.
Because now I'm not covering 20 years of a career,
Yeah.
40 years of a career. I'm covering the last 6 years.
Yeah.
So I really love it. And it was a really nice treat to be able to bump into you naturally like this. So we made it happen. We're here. So Cervoni Services, they cover your accounting, your payroll, your taxes. Are you leveraging their fractional CFO services as well?
We meet with them probably we actually have a meeting tomorrow, a Zoom call, but they go over every detail with us on our prime cost. They point out, hey, you're every little thing from, hey, there's a manager that has too much comps there. Your comp went up 0.5%. Why? They point out every little detail. And so, I remember the first time I met with them, they gave me a B19 folder, and the folder was so beautiful. I go, now I know I'm paying you too much.
What is a B19 folder?
Brasserie 19. It was a folder of all the costs and everything, and it was every detail. It was like a book, and I'm like, now I know I'm paying you too much if you can produce this.
Well, here's a serious question. Do you think you're paying them too much?
No, I don't think I'm paying them too much. I think I'm paying them. They're a good company. I mean, if I email them, they respond within 10 minutes. I call them. Anything I've ever wanted, they've done. The accounting I had before, I'm not going to mention names, it was the worst accounting, and she was with us for 20 years.
Don't mention the names, but why was it horrible?
Oh, we never got P&Ls. We go a year without P&L.
Do you know what your general ledger they were using? Was it QuickBooks or?
It was probably QuickBooks. There was no certified public accountant. It was an accountant, but not certified.
Bookkeeper.
Yeah.
Did she specialize in restaurants?
Yeah, it was in the Woodlands. It was in Tomball Woodlands area. It was way too far. They never wanted to meet.
So they did specialize in restaurants, though?
Yeah, they had about 20 restaurants.
Okay.
Yeah. But they're nothing like Cerboni. Cerboni is world class.
What's the difference?
Cerboni is they're on top of their game. I mean, they've had an answer for everything I've ever questioned them. Like I have to go pick up something at their office. It's ready right now. I'm gonna leave after after the
15-minute drive. That's where I came from.
Yeah.
I really do believe in that company, and I look forward to being able to connect with people that I know and trust, like you, who are using tools that are referred to me organically. And if I have to promote companies, I want to be in love with that company.
Yeah.
And I first discovered Cerboni by Jason Carrier from Mama Betty's. I don't know if you're familiar. He actually came up in the world of Nifas.
Oh, yeah.
The OG fajita concept. Yeah. And he just had amazing things to say about this company. And I was like, tell me more. And he did. And I've just gotten the most incredible testimonials, and it just makes me feel good to know that I'm aligning my brand with companies that are actually making a difference. And I sincerely believe that business model of fractional CFOs and like nose to tail accounting services is the only way possible. That combined with a very restaurant geared enterprise solution tech stack. So do you know what technology you're using in conjunction with Toast, or are they handling all that?
They're handling all that. I do know when I meet with them, they represent a lot of restaurants across the country, Chicago area too.
Over 800 locations.
Yeah, and I'm always trying to get information from them, like on other restaurants, and they're so good about it, they never open their mouth. They don't.
I tried.
They're so private. It's crazy.
Well, that's important. Honestly, I was really trying to get them to talk about the world of their technology partners too.
Yeah.
Because they have a lot of different technology partners, and I was trying to get them to divulge like which technology do you like the best? Like which ones? But they have partnerships with a lot of these companies, and they're very professional.
They're very secret.
I tried to get them to spill.
Yeah,
I wasn't successful.
And they know I'm trying to, and it's kind of funny.
So when did you start working with them?
Oh God, it's been 2 years.
So 2023.
Yeah.
Why did you what was it that made you make this decision to go in this direction?
I interviewed like 5 or 6 restaurant concepts. Who do you use? Who do you recommend? And Cerboni kept coming back. And so when I met with them, they were just so professional, and it made me feel comfortable knowing that the volume of restaurants they do, the accounts they have, some do $15-20 million in revenue, and I said, man, if they can handle them with ease, they're going to handle me with ease, and it just made me so much more comfortable. Yeah, and they're very personable.
In one sentence, what is Cerboni to you?
Cerboni is like kind of like a lifeline to my my numbers in my restaurant. I just feel comfortable knowing that I'm not going to have to audit them in a couple of years or whatever. They're just a world-class organization.
And you're not going to have to sit at a computer.
Exactly. I don't want to sit at a computer. I'd rather clean 300 pounds of fish than sit at the computer.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. There's a reason why I drive across the country.
Wow.
Like, it's because I don't want to sit at a computer.
Yeah.
It's like, and I'm still sitting at a computer, but at least I get to see
Yeah.
a real person, not through a screen, you know?
Yeah.
So do you remember where your prime costs were prior to 2 years ago?
That's probably closer to 67, 68.
67 to 68.
Yeah.
So they
And-
brought you down from 67, 68. Let's say 68 to, what is it, 62 now?
64, 65.
64. So 3 points on
Yeah.
your prime cost.
That's a lot when you're doing 10 million.
It is.
Yeah.
What is that? Anyway, I'm so bad at math. What is
Yeah. Oh my God, it's six figures.
6 figures?
Yeah.
Wow. And that all goes to profit.
Yeah, all goes to the bottom line.
Okay. What about what else since I last talked to you in terms of how you think? I mean, you now own one restaurant, right?
When I took this restaurant over, there was 2 5-year options left, and I'm in my first 5-year option,
Lease.
so that's only about 8 years left.
Okay.
And so Kimco, who bought this, the whole center, they were going to build that patio no matter what, and they were just going to put concrete and a fence out there, and that was it. So I said, okay, I tell you what if I build the patio, I pay for it myself, and the only thing I want from you to extend my lease right now, give me 2 more 5-year options. And they go, you're going to pay for your patio? And I go, yeah. And he goes, well, what's it going to look like? So I hired a team out of New York, and I said, look, I gave them 10 brasseries in Paris, and they came up with this look. I said, okay, so that cost me damn near $50,000, $70,000 just to pay them to do the design.
But why did you win in this scenario, do you think?
Because before I came up with this deal, they were going to extend my lease, but they were going to raise the rent a lot more. The numbers were going to be higher. So I said, look, I'll pay for my own patio. I'll put at least $250,000 in the patio, but the numbers stayed the same on the 2 5-year options. And they go deal.
But you spent $70,000 on the patio, not a
No.
$250,000.
I spent, that was just the designer, 70
okay.
for the design, for some, of all that. And then the cost of each umbrella, there's 3 umbrellas with a heater.
I saw those.
Each umbrella was $20,000 each.
Damn.
Yeah, the tile, fence. And then when you build pour concrete out there, you have to have water retainage. And so that was $220,000. That was the bulk of it.
So
I had
closer to
pay for that.
$300,000.
Yeah, so when you add it all up, and I'll probably come out a little bit ahead after the 17 years of lease is up. But I feel comfortable with the lease I have in front of me.
So the lease that you had going into that deal, what percent what percent of that was of your total revenue, your lease? Your occupancy?
I'd say probably 5.8%.
Okay, so you're 2 points below what they say.
Yeah,
like shit, at least 7.
I try to keep 5%. I'm old school, but yeah, I'm below. Yeah,
And where would it have been if they raised it?
I think it would have been 6.3.
6.3.
Yeah.
Okay, so you still would have been below the 7,
Yeah.
which is good.
Yeah.
But you think you're winning a little bit, but you also don't know what could happen in the marketplace. You
No.
the cost of things keep going up. You don't
Yeah.
know that it would be 6.3. Maybe it could have been something different. Like after.
Well,
you said you extended it 2 terms.
But I pay percentage rent too. That's
Okay.
the only thing. I have a percentage rent I have to pay. I write a check for about $150,000 a year every June. So I just paid that a few months ago. But and then you divide that by 12 months and put that into your rent.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, volume takes care of everything. Volume brings your labor down because,
Butts and seats.
if you have a full kitchen with 7 cooks, 8 cooks, and you're doing 30,000, and then you jump up to 40,000, that's all. You got the same cooks doing 30,000 or 40,000.
Yeah. I mean, I would like to point out that you have a full bar right now, and it's 2:30 on a Wednesday afternoon.
That's every day. You can't make this up.
I'm just going to do a little pan real quick.
Yeah.
Get to do this. I don't know if you can see it on the camera.
I had
The dining room might not be full, but it's also 2:30 on a Wednesday. But a full bar is a beautiful thing to see.
I had a waiter that started with me last year, and I said, you will have $1,000 day where you make $1,000 in one day in tips. He goes, I've never made 1,000. I go, you will have 1,000. About 3 weeks later, he comes up to me, man. He goes, I just made $1,000. And I looked at him, I go, it's only Wednesday.
Yeah, that's awesome. Everyone thinks that marketing is the answer to driving profitability in the restaurant industry, but the reality is nothing drives profit better than rock solid systems, which is exactly why I'm partnering with Restaurant Systems Pro, the best in the biz. So beginning January 5th, Restaurant Systems Pro is going to be launching their 30-day mastery program, and they're going to be offering so much that I have to look at my notes. Here's what they're going to be offering: scheduling, menu engineering, purchasing, inventory, AI invoice processing, bookkeeping, restaurant budgeting, digital checklists, recipe costing, and POS integrations. Plus, on top of all that, they're going to be offering a library of video tutorials and recordings, operational playbooks, flowcharts, swipe files, checklists, and a personalized action plan, which makes delegating all this 100% doable. So, this 30-day restaurant mastery program is valued at $4,000. But because you are Restaurant Unstoppable listeners, you can get it for $97 if you just head over to restaurantsystemspro.net/profits-ru. But really, the best deal is joining Restaurant Unstoppable community. When you join our community, you get all of this for free. Plus, you get access to all of our live events, our ad-free early release bonus content, our Unstoppable bot, and access to a community of restaurateurs trying to be unstoppable just like you. So this is a deal that is just unbeatable. Head over to restaurantunstoppable.com/live and we'll get you the special link to get access to this RSP training beginning January 5th. Get on it. So anything we haven't discussed, any areas, topics, things I should know about you, your business model, your ethos, things that you think people need to know?
There's a couple things that I want to get off my chest. Ever since the Michelin star system, came to Houston a couple years ago.
Yeah.
When I go to Paris or Europe, I see Michelin stars. I might eat a restaurant and be surprised or like, oh my God, this is a Michelin star. It's 2 stars. I don't pick a restaurant based on the Michelin. But if I happen to eat there and it's got a Michelin star, I say, wow, I must, I know what I'm doing. But all these people I could care less about a James Beard Award. I could care less about a Michelin star.
Why?
Because this is a business. I want to make money in this business. And I told someone, I don't mean this in a cocky way. I said, you can have your James Beard Award. I'll drive my new Porsche to work.
Yeah.
It's like, money, look at Johnny Carrabba. He's got Mia's, he's got Carrabba's. I mean, he owns his own dirt, which is insane on Kirby to own your own land. He's never got a Michelin or a James Beard Award. He doesn't care about that. I don't know why people are so caught up in this James Beard Michelin thing. I know most of the restaurants that get them in Houston, they'll be gone in 4 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, they're winning Michelin stars. They have James Beard Awards. They must be making money, right?
No, not at all. Not at all. There's a couple of them that probably make some money, but
that was a trick question.
What's that?
That was a trick question.
Oh, yeah.
No, I hear you and I agree with you. And
Yeah.
I honestly, in full transparency, when I started this podcast, 13 years ago, and I was like, well, how do I find guests? Like, what's the best way to find guests? The way I found guests, before I started developing a network and using this word of mouth and system that I use now, where you will refer me to future guests. You actually referred me to Damien Wattel, and I got him on the show when I was in San Antonio. And like that's how I do it, because I started to learn. I was chasing James Beard Award winners and Michelin star winners and Food and Wine magazine features. Yeah. And my naivety told me that these are the people that must be successful and making money, right? Because they're getting all these accolades. Yeah. And then I started getting more and more confident and brave about let's talk numbers. This is a business podcast. Like,
it is.
How are you doing it? And then I started to realize the people that are winning the awards aren't making any money.
No.
Or not all of them. Some are.
Yeah. Some are.
But there was a high percentage rate of some where I started talking about money. I'm like, what are your prime costs? They're like, we're struggling to stay in the black.
Exactly.
And it's like, well, why? Well, because you're chasing awards. Yeah. Because you in order to get those awards, you have to do kind of crazy things with your labor costs and your cost of goods to stick out. Yeah. You got to. I think things are changing a little bit with the James Beard. I think that they kind of are. I don't know. There is an issue. So, in your opinion, why do they care about awards?
I think it's an ego thing. I think if you do get a James Beard Award, maybe if you're trying to do a restaurant deal, the landlord's going to look at you a little differently. Oh, he's James Beard. He must be good, so I'm going to give him the lease or whatever. But you take somebody, that's a worker, DeMarco, Marco Wiles, restaurant. He worked in his restaurant for years. He never went out in the dining room, really. He never really said hello to people. I don't know if he's shy or what, but he still, DeMarco's considered one of the best Italian restaurants in the city. And he built that out of nothing. All the old school operators like Mark Cox, who had Mark's years ago, all these old school operators, they're kind of disappearing. Tony Vallone, passed away a few years ago, and he was one of my heroes because, he had 4 or 5 concepts over the years that did
Was he
well.
with Landry's?
What's that?
Was he with Landry's?
No. Tony's.
Okay.
He started La Grilla.
Okay.
Tillman did buy La Grilla, and Tillman brought Grotto from him.
That's what I was
but
thinking.
Tony Vallone started Grotto, La Grilla, and Tony's.
I knew there was a connection there.
Yeah.
I think back to what we were discussing earlier relative to consumers are more loyal to third parties. Michelin star and James Beard is considered a third party. I don't think we hold these things in such high regard, but at the end of the day, these are marketing platforms.
Yeah.
They are. Michelin star was literally born out of a marketing campaign for Michelin tires.
And I believe, somebody might not agree with me, but I believe the James Beard, the Michelin thing is a little woke.
Well, they tried to self-correct after a while because they caught a lot of heat because I think people started to talk about how the James Beard was more about politicking and playing the game.
It is.
And then once they started to realize it was a white guys club, and they said, "Oh shit,
yeah,
they figured us out," and then they way overcorrected. And don't get me wrong, I think that we could be, to your point earlier, people that walk into a restaurant that are of a different culture or don't look like everyone else tend to be put in the not so great seats. And the same thing was happening with award culture. So the award culture people hard corrected, and then it was more about overcorrecting and just making sure everybody sees that we're trying really hard to be more inclusive.
Yeah.
But then it's like, well, who's the actual best restaurant?
Yeah.
Like, does that matter anymore?
You're right.
And it's more people. You won't hear people talk about it because they're afraid of biting the hand that feeds them.
Yep.
And if you get the award, you will have a very busy year.
Yeah.
Until somebody else gets the award.
Marco Pierre White, one of the famous. He's the only chef that got 3 Michelin stars without going through Paris, without going through France. He never stepped foot on French soil and got 3 Michelin stars, which has never been done. He gave back his Michelin stars. He goes, "Man, I don't want these. I don't want them anymore." And I read his book White Heat, and that's when I started. That's why I said, "Man, I don't really care about awards.
Yeah,
I care about butts and seats."
Butts and seats.
Yeah,
I mean, and to your point earlier, it's a brasserie, like it's a European restaurants. I think have been able to hang on to the roots of the restaurant industry much better than American concepts have been much more transactional.
Yes.
Much more about ego. I think you have the right approach.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sometimes I second guess myself. I go, wait, I'm not thinking this. Am I doing this right? I mean, it feels natural what I'm doing. I'm taking care of the guests. I'm in the dining room. I'm doing this. Sometimes you second guess yourself.
Are you happier?
I'm much happier.
Why?
I tell people I would do this for free. I'm out there with people, and people, when I see their face and they come up, they go, "Thank you for having this restaurant. I've never been to a restaurant like this in my life." And these people travel. It makes me feel so good because me going to Paris, going to St. Bart, going to New York City, Palm Beach, and getting little bitty details from all these little restaurants. Like this water bottle right here came from, I found this at the Polo Bar in Ralph Lauren Polo Bar in New York City.
Yeah, you can pivot that mic up if it's easier for you.
What's beautiful about this bottle is not only is it a well-made water, it's one of the top waters. Looks like wine, doesn't it? When
I was thinking that.
Well, if you're sitting 3 tables across, it looks like I'm pouring wine into a glass. And people think that and they go, "You know what? I think I'll have some wine. Or I'll have a bottle of wine."
Monkey see, monkey do.
Exactly.
Mirror neurons popping off.
Belvazar in New York, which is one of the busiest restaurants in the United States, they pour all of their iced tea refills out of wine bottles. So it looks like they're pouring wine. Little bitty details.
Yeah. We're already over an hour into this conversation. Does it feel like it's been an hour?
It feels like 10 minutes.
Fast, right?
Yeah.
So the mission statement is to inspire, empower, and transform the industry. We talked a lot about, what's happened. I think, hearing your values is very inspirational. Sharing some of the knowledge and the things that you've done today to pivot, to evolve. In terms of transformation, I think we've also talked about what the industry might be guilty of in the past and waking people up to make it a more purposeful driven industry where we're not ego driven and I don't know, chasing awards, right?
Yeah, exactly.
But on that vein of transformation, anything else that you think we need to create awareness about for a better future? Are you worried about the future? Like, what do you think the future holds?
One thing, I try to retain my employees, and I'm thinking, how do I do that? What do a Christmas bonus is what I do. So I sat down with Erica, my GM, and about 2 years ago, and I said, you know what? Let's look at a healthcare program from the dishwasher to the general manager that I can pay 100%. They don't come out of pocket one penny. And finally, I found a program, a package where everyone that's with me has health insurance.
Wow.
And I feel good about that. It makes me feel good knowing if somebody hurt themselves, they can go to their doctor.
Right. We also like to squawk in the industry about people not taking the industry seriously.
Yeah.
But how can we be taken seriously if we don't take their livelihood seriously and their health seriously? Yeah. Right?
Yeah.
So what is the program you're using? Is there a company that you're going through to make this happen?
Erica has more of the details on that, but it's I use a medical, not a medical, an insurance guy that came up with 3 or 4 packages for us and said, hey, this costs you this will cost you this, but they'll have better care with this, they'll have good care with this. So I chose one of the 3 packages, gold, silver, bronze, whatever. And so there's no cost out of pocket for me, any of my employees.
Is this a local firm that you're going through, or is it like a company that does this, specializes in creating?
It's a company specializes in it.
Does that look like a very important conversation over there? If I were to, is it a meeting?
No, you're good.
Can I ask Erica?
Yeah, ask her.
Erica, I have a question for you.
Yeah, of course.
Do you want to come over here real quick? Sorry to interrupt. We're talking about insurance.
We're talking about how everybody has a health insurance. You and I came up with that a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
And who do we use for that?
Assured Partners.
There you go, Assured Partners.
Assured Partners.
Do you handle that programming, or like, do you know?
I help answer questions for it, but no, the Assured Partners, there's a team there that runs the MEC.
What is Insured Partners?
Assured Partners, it's just a local Houston-based insurance brokerage firm that specializes in restaurants and hospitality.
So can you get into the details as to why what they do to make it affordable and approachable for restaurants?
Well, the MEC program run by BMA, like I can't remember exactly what it stands for. They put together, and it's like running off of the ACA. It's similar. It's basically a similar program as the Affordable Care Act.
Got it. Thank you very much.
That it's compliant with the Affordable Care Act.
I want to get that information. I appreciate that help. Are they local, just here to Austin, or they do national work?
Assured Partners is just, as far as I know, just Houston.
Got it.
The MEC plan might be nationwide. Yeah.
Thank you very much. I wanted to get that. It sounded like a very good company. I like getting credit where credit's due, so I appreciate you.
See, those are my weaknesses. I don't know that.
We don't
so
have to be good at everything. That's what we got Erica's for. Yeah. Thank you, Erica. So insurance, you're stepping up your insurance game because you know that's really important. Anything else?
That's one way. Holidays, I love giving Christmas bonuses to everybody. I have a bartender who works the service bar. He's really fast, makes all the drinks for the waiters, and I'm going to surprise him with an envelope with $1,000 in it, for Christmas shopping. And I think I'm going to give everybody a gift this year and make sure everybody has a good Christmas bonus.
How would you say your culture is on a scale from 1 to 10?
1 to 10, I'd say it's probably about 9.
What makes it a 9?
We listen to everybody. If someone has a problem, like I had a young girl, her father died in Mexico, and she needed $1,000 to bury him, and I gave it to her, as a loan, to make her feel good to pay it back. I said, take your time. I think just helping people, because a lot of people have checked the check, and I'm very lucky. I grew up very poor, but, I've always believed in hard work, and if you want something, work for it.
Yeah.
And I think if people see you working toward it, they're going to help you. Like Steve Webster, he invested in me when I built this restaurant. I'm getting off the subject.
You're fine.
But
pivot that mic. Just talk right into it. Sorry.
I was building the Brasserie, Grant and I, and we needed $1 million because it's the second generation. We were, not changing structural, but we were putting tables, making it look good. So $1 million, not a lot of money to do a restaurant, but it's a nice amount. And the bank across the street, Mutual of Omaha, he'd give us half the money. And then, so we said, hey, we're halfway through. We need the other half. He goes, oh, well, times are tough. I can't do that. I'm like, wait, you said you were going to give us the $1 million. We're in the middle of it. We already signed a lease. We're in the middle of construction. So I go to Steve Webster, and he had been wanting to be a partner with us for 10 years. He says, if you ever need money, let me know. A lot of people say that, but they don't back it up. So I go up to him. I said, look, I'm in a bind. I need $500,000 to finish the restaurant, Brasserie. He goes, okay. This is years ago when people would have checks on him. He reached his pocket and had a checkbook, and he wrote me a check, $500,000, and gave it to me. I go, let's go to your office tomorrow and do the paperwork. He goes, I don't need paperwork on it. Just pay me back. And I go, you're a 20% partner from here on out, no matter what we do. He goes, okay. So we finished the restaurant. We opened up. I paid him back the money with 10% interest in 18 months.
Wow.
And he remained a partner. So those are people that, and I said, why would you don't want to see a business plan? He goes, I don't invest in businesses.
Yeah.
He goes, I invest in people.
100%.
And I never forgot that.
Yeah, and business is, it's in the language we use. It's called a company.
Yeah.
It's the company you keep.
Yeah.
I think there's like a Latin for the word, I don't know, I can't remember, I want to say corporation, or there's some business term that like literally means like the people that you eat with. I can't remember, but like it translates to like, that is a company. It's the people, like it's all about relationships.
Yeah.
And like that's the secret right there. What would you have to do differently to take it from a 9 to a 10?
Oh, what would I have to do differently? I don't know. Maybe have a Christmas party every year. Yeah. We're open every day except like Christmas Day, Thanksgiving, and July 4th and New Year's Day. So it's hard to have a company party, things like that. And I feel bad not having a company party for all the employees. I used to do July 4th. But I feel bad pulling people away from their families July 4th. So we haven't had a party in a couple of years.
Yeah. Do you have a vision for your company, like going forward, Clark Concepts going forward?
I'm looking at a concept right now, a location for a concept. And so I'm trying to put together a team to do that. But I don't want to lose focus on Brasserie, because Brasserie, I think, is, it's the thing that it's the butter on the bread.
Yeah.
And but I'm open to do another 1 or 2 concepts, but I'm so comfortable right now. My daughter's just graduated college. I get to see them a lot more. Got an excellent relationship with my ex-wife. We're best friends, her and her husband. Johnny Crabba told me the other day, him and Charles Carroll, the chef at River Oaks Country Club, was in here, and they said that, man, we're so jealous. Well, he was jealous of me. I go, for what? He goes, you have one restaurant. He goes, you know what I would do just to have one restaurant again?
Yeah. And I think that goes back to ego. I think that, again, my mission statement is to inspire, empower, and transform the industry. And I think that we came up in this world where success is defined as something.
Yeah.
It's by how many restaurants you can build, or who's making the most money, or who gets the most awards. And I think we really need to redefine what success in the restaurant industry is.
Yeah, I tell people, like, they go, when are you going to do another restaurant? I go, let me tell you something. Having another restaurant, it's not going to get me a private jet. It's not going to change my life. Having 2 restaurants is going to change my life. I'm comfortable. I'm happy in what I'm doing. Why would I mess that up? So I love what I'm doing.
Yeah, and I think one of my number one core value is freedom. And I really want to, I think people don't take into consideration the significance of freedom. And I think when people think freedom, they think, I just want to be able to go to the beach whenever I want and lay down and take a nap or just play video games. Freedom is doing, what is freedom to you? Let me ask you that.
Yeah, I know where you're coming from. That freedom is like, I'm kind of jealous of you getting in a van with a bed or something, and you can just travel, 10 hours and pull over in a desert somewhere and spend the night. I think seeing what you're doing, seeing the world, seeing the United States from a different perspective, it changes who you are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It does, and getting to see the perspective. But in my mind, and I'm taking this from Dan Sullivan, strategic coach, well-known corporate executive coach, says you need to look at freedom in there's 4 categories in freedom. There's freedom of money, freedom of time, freedom of relationships, and freedom of purpose. And I think that most people think that in order to achieve freedom, you have to start with money.
Yeah.
And they try to go for freedom of money. If I have enough money, I can buy freedom.
Yeah.
Right? But I think we need to invert that and prioritize freedom of purpose.
once you have to have something to live for, like to show up for, the thing that drives you, your passion, your purpose. And if you have that freedom, the next most important thing is relationships. I think we already talked about how important that is, right? And being able to choose who you go into business with, being able to choose your partners, being able to choose the markets and the people you want to serve. And then if you can have freedom of purpose and freedom of relationships, time is just it's not even a thing. Because it goes by.
Yeah.
You're doing what you love. I do think the money will come if you have those things.
What did Janis Joplin say in Me and Bob and McGee? Freedom's just another word for nothing else to lose.
Right.
I love that.
Yeah, and I think that we need to prioritize purpose in the industry. I think we don't do that very well. So I've really loved today's conversation, my man.
Well, I hope I cover some topics that can help other people out there. And if any of your listeners want to even contact me directly, I'm always at Brasserie. I'd love to give you my 2 cents on how I become, somewhat successful in this business.
I would love to, if you were open to joining us digitally for Coffee with Eric, something I do every other week,
Sure.
Maybe a month or after this episode goes live. So if you're interested in talking to Charles, stick around for the closing thoughts because we'll let you know how you can do that. And a couple questions before I say goodbye, just some final closing thoughts here. What is one thing you've done in the past year that's moved the needle that you can share with our listeners today?
I think the one thing
Top line or bottom line?
I've been wanting to do for the last 14 years, even when Tony Mandela was here, he had the same bathrooms for like 20. He was here 20 years. So the bathrooms have been for 34 years. And I think I moved the needle because I hired a designer in River Oaks. She came in and showed me the whole package, the brass, the marble. And I was not thinking, I thought at the most a bathroom could cost you maybe $50,000 or $60,000. I didn't know that you could pay, close to $100,000 to redo a bathroom. So I redid both my bathrooms in the last few months, and I am so happy with it. And I've been wanting to do it forever. And it was hard because I had a trailer with 3 bathrooms in the back parking lot. And when you take a woman wearing Louboutin shoes in July heat to a trailer to use the to use the bathroom, she's not happy. Guys didn't care.
Yeah.
The women care. But I think that moved the needle B19 because I tell every woman that comes in, they go, why'd you redo the bathrooms? I go, go look in the mirror. I have the most beautiful women in Houston in the world come in here. Why not go into the most beautiful bathroom?
Yeah.
And when I was doing the bathrooms, I was thinking Paris, 30s, 1940s, meets the Carlisle Hotel, old school New York. And that was my influence, passion to do the bathrooms.
And how you do one thing is how you do everything. So that makes a statement. The bathrooms are beautiful and spotless and clean and makes you feel safe and clean. Like I'm sure the kitchen probably looks pretty nice too.
Yeah, but I'm getting to redo the kitchen too.
Nice.
I'm redoing all the equipment. I'm going to overhaul the kitchen. That's the last part. I've redone everything in the dining room, from the lighting, from the ceilings, from the carpet, all new chairs, the new bathrooms. So the kitchen is my next project.
I love it. And again, word of mouth is my North Star, right? And that's how.
Oh yeah, word of mouth.
It's how I find people to make an example of. You referred Damien Wattell to me the last time I was speaking with you. Who do you respect and admire today? Who's doing it right? Who really is somebody you think needs to be made an example of because of their fiscal responsibility? They're making money and they're also making a difference. Who's that?
Nancy's Hustle is a little restaurant I really, really love. I go there. They're very consistent. A great little wine list. I think they're doing a really good job. They're kind of a hipster restaurant, but I like them because they're open late. Since COVID, everybody seems to be closing at 9:30 now.
That's Nancy's house, you said?
Nancy's Hustle.
Nancy's Hustle.
Yeah.
And who's the woman behind that? Is it Nancy?
No. It's a guy. It's a gentleman. I don't even know his name, but I go in there and I see him working there. And but I like that restaurant.
Is he the owner?
Yeah, he's the owner.
Got it.
He has a partner named Sean.
Mr. Nancy Hustle Restaurant. I'm coming after you. I'd love to get you on the show.
Matt Bryce is another friend of mine who owns Federal Grill. Matt Bryce is a good guy. He's got about 4 or 5 concepts. They're all Federal Grills, and he's a good worker. I know Ben Berg's going through a hard time right now with his restaurants, overexpanded maybe, but I love Ben Berg. He comes in here quite a bit, and he started as a waiter like me. He's doing a really good job. And one of my favorite is Tommy over at Barry, the owner of Barry. Tommy, he is an old school New Yorker from New York.
B-A-R-R-I?
Yeah, B-A-R-I. He used to date Brooke Shields back in the day. He's a little older than me, but he's got the best New York stories. I could listen to him all day.
He's here in Houston as well?
He's in Houston, right across from Toulouse.
Thank you for that list.
Yeah.
Gentlemen, I'm coming after you. And you said we could reach out. What's the best way to connect?
Just email or phone.
And do you want to share that here?
Yeah, 832-526-8617. That's my cell phone.
And your email?
cclark7980@comcast.net.
And this is episode 1238. So if you head over to the notes associated with this episode, we'll link to that information there so you guys can get it.
Sounds good.
Awesome. Charles, my man, I cannot do what I do without people like you being willing to sit in the middle of your day, spend an hour and a half plus with me. Thank you so much. And there is no questioning, you are unstoppable.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate it.
Cheers.